Okay, today you're going to be doing a paired passage. And so remember, when we do paired passages, we take the passages one at a time before we even look at the paired passage, the paired question. So we're just going to pretend like it's two separate passages. So remember, our strategy for reading is unwrap. And this is, I can tell by the titles, the subtitles, and the picture that this is a nonfiction passage. Okay, so my first, the U in unwrap stands for underline, or in our case, we're going to highlight all of the text features and anything that we see. So the title is Golden Opportunities. I have Money Making Venture number 1, Money Making Venture number 2. So a venture is kind of like an activity. So if I have Money Making Venture number 1 and Money Making Venture number 2, let's see what I have on the next page. Money Making Venture number 3, and that's it. So I already know that I can make a prediction. The title is Golden Opportunities, so this is my prediction. This has something to do with making money. Okay, so now I'm going to look at my pictures. So here I have a picture, and I'm going to highlight the caption, Men Traveling Up Chilkoot Pass. So all these little things are men, and it looks like they're going up a mountain. So I'm going to ask myself, why is this here? So maybe the making money has to do with men going up a mountain. So I'm going to say, where is this money? Now my next picture is a map. And it says routes from the Yukon gold fields to Seattle. So I'm going to find, here's Seattle. And from Seattle, these must be the routes. This is an all-water route, and this is an overland route. Okay, so now I know a little bit more about my story. It has something to do with, the money has to do with finding gold. Okay, so now let's look. So I underlined or highlighted all my text features. Now we need to number our paragraphs, but in this case our paragraphs are already numbered for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of chunk the text to beginning, middle, end. So go ahead and highlight the paragraphs. So I have 11 paragraphs. So let's look at this text. So I have 3 paragraphs before the first subtitle, and then I have subtitle, 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 and then I have two more paragraphs as part of the last subtitle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chunk this part, these 3, and I'm going to call these the intro. And I'm going to call these 4 and 5, and then 6, 7 and 8, I'm going to chunk those for my hashtag. And then 9, 10, and 11 will be a hashtag. Okay? So now that I've numbered my paragraphs, I've chunked my text. And I'm going to remind myself at the end that I need a BME summary. Okay? And I'm going to remember that the beginning always has to have the topic or who the characters are. The middle is the heart of the story. This is where most of the story comes from. And the end is usually ending on a positive note. Okay? So when I go to write my summary, I need to think about those things. Okay? So now we've done the N, the U and the N. Now we need to do our W, which means write the questions where they are found. So now I'm going to go to the questions. So you see that I have another passage. This is the paired part, but I'm going to skip that because I'm only dealing with golden opportunities. And just for a reminder, my golden opportunities is going to be my yellow highlighter. When I go to my next passage, I'm going to use a different color. So here are, let's find the questions. On page 23 is where I'm starting. So these are the questions for golden opportunities. Okay, so number 20. The reader can conclude that Belinda Mulroney's first restaurant. Okay, so this is an inference question. What can I conclude based on the text evidence? So I'm going to go back to my passage. I haven't read the passage yet, but I'm just kind of scanning, and look, here I see Belinda Mulroney. Okay? So I'm going to say that number 20 is, what can I conclude about Belinda M. Okay? Now, I'm going to go to number 21. Which phrase from paragraph 6 helps the reader understand the meaning of grueling in paragraph 7? So they're not asking me, what does grueling mean? They're asking me which one of these phrases helps me understand. So the first thing I want to do is write grueling, and I'm going to look it up in the dictionary. And then I'm going to go back to paragraph 6, and I'm going to find these phrases, and I'm going to see which one helps me understand the definition of grueling. So that means which one of these matches the definition of grueling, or is an example of the definition of grueling. So I'm going to go back to paragraph 6. Paragraph 7. And I'm going to highlight grueling. But then I'm going to go back to paragraph 6. And I'm going to say number 21 is an example of grueling. Now, let me go to 22. It says, the author wrote this selection most likely to. This is an author's purpose. Why did the author write this? Did the author want to explain something? Explain different ways people profited? Did the author want to describe a journey? Did the author want to highlight how the search for gold gave people hope? Or relate the history of how the gold rush began? So this, I have to choose the answer that comes from the middle of the story and shows the big picture. Okay? So this is what it's mostly about. We're not going to choose the one that has that's a small detail or that's mentioned one time. We're going to choose the one that this story is mostly about. Now, there are some words that can give us hints because we know that even before we read this has to do a lot with money, just from the subtitles, money-making ventures, right? Okay, so for number 22, I'm going to write this because this is where I have my BME summary. What is this mostly about? So for number 23, let's look. Which sentence supports the idea that goods were in demand during the Klondike Gold Rush? Okay, so all we're looking at is the one that supports the idea that goods were in demand. So if goods were in demand, then what? Okay, so if goods were in demand, think about it. Okay, if you had a new pair, if one of the shoe companies came out with a new pair of sneakers and everybody wanted them, that means they're in demand. Okay, so look through each one of these answer choices. If goods were in demand, they charged per mile and by weight when they helped carry supplies. Does that have anything to be with goods being in demand? When she reached Dawson, the closest town to the goldfields, she sold these items for 7 times the amount she purchased them for. Does that mean that goods were in demand? The men made their fortune collecting tolls from travelers. Does this one have anything to do with goods? It publicized Seattle as the gateway to the goldfields, hoping to bring prospectors' businesses to Seattle. So you have to see which one of these shows that goods are in demand. Okay, number 24. The map is included. So the map, most likely to. So we need to go back to the map. And we need to say number 24. Why is this here? Okay? So now you're going to go, I think that was all the questions for this one. Yep. The next questions have to do with the poem. So what you're going to do now is read the passage. Each time you stop for a hashtag, you're going to write a summary, a quick 1 or 2 sentence summary of what this is about, and then you're going to answer these questions, and then go on to the next video for the poem.